Hello everybody and welcome back to another video on the Monolith channel. There wasn't a devlog last month for March, even though there was less content other than February and January. There was obviously some work that was done, but the reason for that was because I was preparing to happily announce the Monolith April build. This is the first build of the game that will be publicly available for all of you to play. Hopefully there are some people excited. It's coming very soon, aka probably the first I'd say half of April. So honestly, you could see this the next few days or maybe a week from now. It's very, very soon. And I want to do a little video just to go over what the April build actually means and what the response to this build means for the future of Monolith as a project. So let's move on. The purpose of the build, it's intended for a small group of volunteering testers. So that's basically people in the Discord. I do appreciate all of you for joining the Discord. Anyone who's watching from the Discord or not, if you want to join, it should be in the description. But basically, this isn't meant for like a big audience of people yet. This is literally the first version of the game that is ever going to be available, and therefore it is going to be very unfinished, and there's going to be a lot of stuff that I'm going to add later, especially characters. There's only going to be 3 playable characters, but yeah, it's very, very early on, so do bear that in mind. It's to see the overall excitement levels related to the project, and also to garner essential feedback and suggestions from the playtesters. Feedback could kind of be about like the design of the game, if you have anything related to that you would personally change or say is worth changing. And suggestions is more kind of out there stuff like add an attachment which does X, Y, and Z, for instance. Excitement levels, I'll come back to this, but this is pretty kind of important, I'd say, for what I'm actually trying to do with Monolith as a whole. But another slide goes over that in more detail, so I won't repeat myself. And there's also just to check if there's major bugs, there's flaws in design of the game. Major bugs would literally just be stuff that isn't meant to happen, and flaws kind of links back to feedback, where if something's designed really poorly in the game or explained really poorly, then you know I'll try and fix that in future builds. Actually, just on the topic right now, for explaining stuff, there's going to be no tutorial, and it's going to be a little bit confusing to play this demo of the game. So you're just going to have to kind of figure stuff out. Or ask me on the Discord, I'll probably be online. What's left before the April build can release? There's a little bit of time before I can release it, so what do I actually have to do? Well, I have to fully implement the boss Monolith. The final Monolith you fight is pretty cool, but I haven't done it yet. The consumables found throughout runs. This is an idea I had, and I'm not going to go too into detail, but it will be a way for players to be able to scale up their damage and how much ammo they get paid out from the monoliths and other things, maybe even free roam speed. This should just add a little bit more depth to the gameplay. Weapon mods, again, this is kind of confusing, and I'm going to leave it partly as a surprise, but the items down here aren't attachments, they're the weapon mods, and they're basically like power-ups to your character or adjustments to your character. They're similar to like perks in a game like Overwatch, for instance, where it modifies, I'd say, the weapon of the character you're playing rather than just adding stuff on top. So for Mikey, you have the slop and this, which is called a double barrel. And if you pick slop, for instance, it makes it so your shots do poison damage every time, which obviously adds some more synergy and whatnot. But you can only pick one weapon mod, and each character will have 2 unique ones, so they're pretty cool. More areas on the map. Again, I won't go too into detail, but the game just started off with the village, as it was originally called, and the Monolith fighting area and the mini boss area. So later on I added the supply points and the choice points, where you can obviously choose if you want to go to a free roam area or a Monolith to fight it. More areas is just going to add a little bit more diversity to the game. Contracts. This might be a little bit confusing because I haven't publicly announced it, but the contract bunkers and contracts were removed due to bugs, and also just because they felt a little bit like dumb. For instance, most of the contracts were stuff like 10% HP for defeating a monolith and minus 10% HP for defeating a monolith. So I'm going to change these a little bit, and I'm going to make the way you obtain them a little bit different. And hopefully they're better. I do think they're cool, and I do want to bring them back. That's all I'm going to say here. Extra polish. This is just, you know, making the game feel a little bit more smoother. Again, a lot of GUI and textures and whatnot is going to be unfinished in this build, but there is some stuff that I can definitely make a little bit better before I release it for public consumption. And private testing session. This is a maybe. That's why it has a question mark at the end. But basically, I may send the game maybe a day or 2 before release to some people I personally know, just to see if it runs on other computers and if there's any huge major bugs that will just outright make the game unplayable. I may do this, I may not, but yeah, it's not really anything to I guess worry about, I don't know. Where will the April build be available? Is either going to be available for itch.io or a download in the Discord server. I don't know the process of setting up a page for itch. Hopefully it's easy. I haven't even looked into doing it yet, but that's probably where you're going to be able to find it. A Steam release wouldn't happen until much further down the production line. A lot of people are probably just thinking, oh, I'll just put it on Steam, but Steam is a £100 fee for putting games on it, and I don't think it's really worth putting a game in such an early stage on Steam, because then people might play it and get the wrong idea and poorly review it. So I'm going to wait off on that. What's next? One of two. Once the actual build releases, I'm going to probably wait a week or a few days and see what people have to say about it. But feedback and critical bugs/errors will be taken into account. It's going to be very important. I'm going to be listening out for these. And this may result in more builds being released during this period. So again, if there was a bug where you literally couldn't play the game, we may see April build 1 release, oh, it's unplayable, and then we see April build 2 release a day or two later with those bugs fixed, hopefully. Suggestions I like will also be potentially added to future builds. So if someone has a really cool idea for a character attachment or anything of the sorts, then I may consider adding it. What's next, 2 or 2? These are basically the outcomes for the reactions to the game. And I'll kind of explain each in a little bit of detail. If playtesters like the core gameplay loop, but there are issues holding the game back, I'll go back to the drawing board and amend those issues in preparations for a later build. I'll just go back a slide real quick. As you can see here, we have April build 1, 2, so that kind of links into that. Once or if the reactions are ever exceedingly positive, I'm going to pursue further development for the game in preparation for a proper release later down the line, like I mentioned on Steam. If reactions are exceedingly negative or mixed, and the game is basically unsalvageable, like the gameplay loop, then I'll just outright scrap it and use the assets and story elsewhere. This seemed a little bit kind of abrasive almost. It seemed a little bit like I'm jumping the gun here, but this is the first ever game I've made on Godot. First ever game I've really experimented about making. So I'm very open to the idea. It just outright isn't fun. And if that is the case, then I'm going to, make a new thing. That's just what you got to do. You got to evolve from your mistakes, right? But be honest with your feedback. Be honest. You don't have to say, oh, it's really good, and then I make it and then realize later on, yeah, this sucks, and people are being nice. I do hope people like it, but we'll just have to see. And then potential future content. If people do really like the build for the game, then I am gonna put out comics, art, literature, more character teaser videos like the Corbin one, or more devlogs during that wait between the next build and obviously now. The devlogs one is a maybe, because I don't know if people would rather just wait for stuff to come out and see it all like, oh, this is a surprise, this feature's new, this feature's new. Or if people would rather see it like develop in lifetime, because I do actually appreciate both of those kind of formats for video games. So let me know what you're thinking in the comments or the Discord, because I'm open to both. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned. This is going to come out very soon. I'm really excited to actually have people finally play this game that I've been working on for nearly like half a year or a year now. It's been a while, to be honest. But yeah, stay tuned on the Discord or subscribe and put notifications on for the channel, because I'll post a trailer and then probably announce to people when it's about to come out. But like always, have a fantastic day.